Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 23. Good day, good Monday to you guys.
Good Monday.
Good Monday.
Good
Yes.
Monday.
Good Monday.
Good Monday.
This week is going to be an interesting episode because we're talking all things from spacefaring journeys to stream business stuff to maybe even the Apple EarPods. We were just talking about that. AirPods.
Yeah,
AirPods
$250. Like I'm kind of into it, but $250 for
That's
AirPods.
a lot of money.
But
it is.
Supposedly the AirPods actually noise cancel and are basically like the same, just a little bit bigger. So they snug into your ear canals. Not the canal, but the outside.
They do look like they have a better, more ergonomic shape to them.
Yeah.
And, I never used earpods before because I've always any kind of earpods.
AirPods. Yeah.
What are they even called? Earbuds. Any earbuds. But these ones look like they might have that shape that might stay in. So yeah.
I mean,
I never had a problem with my AirPods staying in. And one of the highlights of them was that they weren't those silicone tips, which I never like. I never like silicone tipped earbuds. Is they just kind of hung in your ear and they were comfortable that you didn't get sweaty. You know how the silicone can kind of trap sweat in. So if I'm out and about, I can also hear what's going on around me. The only time I ever want noise canceling headphones is when I'm on a plane and I can't see wearing earbuds for a 5-hour flight. I want headphones.
Supposedly you can turn them on and off for the noise canceling on there.
Right.
They got a chip on
but
there.
It's still going to have isolation because it's got the silicone seal.
Apparently they've got a technology that uses the mic. I read it because I couldn't.
But Tefty, let me tell you the most important detail about these AirPods.
Here's what happened. I couldn't go to bed, or I couldn't fall asleep halfway through last night. So I look at my phone, and suddenly it says AirPods Pro. So I read it. Okay, I read the literature. Okay. And then I was almost late. I was almost late for SideQuest because
incorporated into the corporate
Did you read
culture
it on your Apple
of
Watch?
Apple. Apple choice.
So apparently there's a microphone. There's a microphone, and they actually will give you live audio into it because it's sealed. So that's fascinating, right?
Yeah, that's
microphone.
I mean, the most important detail is that it looks like bean sprout.
Bean sprout, yeah. You can sprout up.
Oh,
sprout up.
Yeah. Apple goers, sprout up.
I've paid that much for earphones before.
That's what I call
for headphones
sprout,
before.
For Pokemon people. I call them
that's a Pokemon's. Got it. Okay.
Bellsprout. Yeah. Mr. Bell.
I paid that much for headphones before, but these, it's the use case for these is so specific.
For the AirPods?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the fact that you could just put it in your ears and then walk around and not really have to think about it, and if you can get better sound quality, I think that's mildly appealing. I think if anything, I don't own AirPods. Obviously, I'm curious because I've gone full Apple lately. Yikes!
Oh, you're pod curious.
Wow,
that's a yikes, man. Jesus. The only thing that bugs me about the thought of the AirPods is that they only last 5 hours, which is a long time, but still, it's 5 hours that are.
They charge really fast though. You just put them in the case.
And you got
true.
They charge I think it's you charge them for 5 minutes and you get 2 more hours of battery life out of them.
Sure. I just don't like thinking about how I have to charge my headphones. That kind of bugs me.
Yeah.
It takes a while to kind of get into that routine because it's the same sort of thing. I recently switched over to a wireless mouse. I love the mouse. It's really good. And it lasts for 50 hours, but I keep forgetting to put it on the pad at night. And then during the day, I'm like, oh no, it's run out. I'm like, what do I do? So, but I think once you get into that routine, because I guess if you would use your headphones for a bit and you're like, oh, I'm going to get in my car, so I put them in the box, then I guess it kind of happens. But
yeah.
Plus, you got to get them because you get the street cred, right? You can walk around. You don't even need to listen to music.
Street cred, you're right.
I got the AirPods.
Oh, you got to have Apple
and then
Street
What
cred.
you listening to, man? Then they you bring your phone next and be share the audio with their AirPods because they're using AirPods too.
Exactly. And then while you're in the shop, you're like, let me just pay for that on my watch. Hold on a minute.
Yeah. We'll just pay for groceries.
And Tefty's, memes. I'm bringing the dinner home.
Yeah, exactly. All
talking into the watch with the AirPods.
Okay, so making a phone call on your Apple Watch is legit fucking awesome.
It is. Yeah, I've done it a few times.
First time you do it, you're like, this is amazing. I'm living in the future.
Yeah. Also, I'm driving and I'm like, hey Siri, and then I'll be like, plot a route to so and so and so, and I'm still driving and it does all that stuff, and I just look over and I'm like, oh, there's the directions. Nice,
Yeah. And like it taps your forearm when you need to, because I hate having the GPS talking in the car.
Yeah.
So I always just have it muted and I can just visually see it on the screen.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So if I use Apple Maps, which I kind of don't do actually, but it'll tap you when you're about to make a turn, so you don't forget to like.
Does it have a different vibration so it can like tap right or tap left?
No,
I don't know.
Doesn't have that.
I mean, or maybe you can like double vibrate for left, and vibrate once for right. Then I know. Well, left turn coming up.
Assuming you're on the what is it, the 9 and 2 or the 10 and 2, you know, and then you just look over at the watch, you can see if it's left or right pretty easily. But what is nice,
what you really need.
It gives a nice vibration though. It's like boop, 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 type of thing on your arm.
What you really need is 2 watches, and then it can vibrate left if you need to turn left.
This is brilliant.
There it is.
Eric,
that's brilliant.
That's genius.
For the bargain price of $1,000, you can get 2 watches.
Well, that's if you want like the aluminum one. You really want the stainless steel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. And you might want to have the fancy strap, which is like another $500.
Yeah.
Don't straps are so expensive. It's stupid.
Don't forget your AirPod Pro as well, which is $250 now, because obviously you got to be professional.
My mother told me go to Best Buy. They have much cheaper straps. So I go to Best Buy to look at straps. I'm like, they're still $60.
Yep.
Like, normal watch bands are like 10.
It's true.
But they're not from the Apple choice.
They need to branch out with them though, because I want like a nice bamboo watch strap. Like that'll be kind of cool, right? But they're all just like the rubbery ones. Like it's like
I bet Amazon sells those, guaranteed.
Probably do, yeah. But I don't know if I trust these
ruled by corporations.
Ones.
What is wrong with us talking about? Oh, Amazon probably sells the bamboo thing if you can't find it at the Apple store.
That's right.
That's some good cross promotion because we're streaming on Twitch and Amazon owns Twitch. So
it does own Twitch. Yeah.
Whoa, look at that.
It's amazing.
You're welcome.
I'm an Amazon employee.
So are you guys actually going to get the
Amazon Prime?
Brian, are you going to get the AirPods Pro?
When my AirPods die, I'll think about it. I actually enjoy being able to hear the outside world, but I guess they offer that too. Yeah. But I already have noise canceling headphones.
Right, for quality.
Yeah.
So you don't really need them, right?
I don't really need them. And like the only time I actually use the noise canceling function is when I'm on a plane.
Yeah, and you're not going to use those on a plane, right?
AirPods?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they'll be that comfortable for like a long period of time.
Oh, interesting. So for me, earbuds are okay for long periods. Headphones,
the silicone tip one.
Yeah. Headphone one, like over the ears, I can't stand for more than 3 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I'd rather have, as long as they're not on ear, as long as they're around the ear, they're fine for me for hours.
Interesting. Yeah. If it's even touching, like next to it, I'm like, them headphones are gonna be bugging me in 2 hours, man.
Yeah.
We should talk about Outer Worlds, guys.
Yes, we should.
Speaking of your corporate masters.
Yes. Corporations and boardroom members making decisions that are bad for people, for working folk.
This is why I chose the botanical garden. That's exactly why.
You're damn right. Same wants.
I did as well. We're gonna have to talk about that decision. Yeah. So new game by Obsidian. It's available right now on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. If you have Microsoft Game Pass, it's part of that, so it's actually free to play, assuming you already pay into the Game Pass subscription model, which is only $1 for your first month. Hint, hint.
That's a good deal.
So you can finish the game in a month and just pay $1 for it. Cancel your subscription.
And have your experience.
Obsidian, kind of famous for these are the guys that made Fallout 3 New Vegas. They've also made is it Pillars of Eternity? I can't remember that one. But they're RPG guys. And
some of the best
this
RPGs.
Is an RPG kind of along the same lines as what you would expect from the guys who made New Vegas, right? It's not a broad open world like you get from Fallout. What it is kind of smaller planets that you go and visit that are very dense, but not as big as an open world. Although some of them, like Monarch, feels huge.
Yeah, Monarch is big. That's where I ended last night, and I was like, this place is enormous, man.
Yeah, there's a ton to do there. And
you get to fly to planets, which is cooler than walking.
It is.
Yeah, and it's an
Flying
RPG in the fact that
walking, yes.
That's true. It's an RPG in the fact that you actually make decisions about your character, your choices in this world, how you deal with problems. You know, it's one of those where you spec into, you know, your intellect and your persuasion skills or your intimidation skills, and then that can offer you different options in conversations that can make things go one way or another.
So when you were making your characters, did you give them a backstory to fill out why they had certain skills?
Yeah, I was Mal from Firefly.
Nice.
The lovable rogue.
Nice. I decided I was going to be a sneaky science hacker. So I tried to make her look a little bit weird because she's this zany scientist who's sneaking around hacking and lockpicking and stuff.
Is she like a biohacker?
She's great. Yes.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then with the first stick I got, the melee weapon was kind of like a it was like a stick with like a big ball on top of it. I called that my science stick. So I ran around hitting people with my science stick.
Get scienced.
Get science.
Have you guys run across any of the science weapens yet?
Yes.
I don't know.
They are pretty cool. So these are kind of akin to like exotic or legendary weapons in other games. And they have like different effects. Like the loot system in this game is very much like you'd expect from either a BioWare game or a Bethesda game, where you loot bodies or you find chests on the ground and there's loot in them. And sometimes you have to hack the chest. Sometimes you have to use a lockpick to get into the chest, or like a lockpick equivalent. It's like a Magna pick or something. Yeah. And you constantly run around like looking for more loot, and the loot, like the armor gets better. The armor also has perks on it that gives you certain abilities, and the weapons can do the same. And then you can mod your weapons. You can add like an electrical effect to the weapon. You can make it a faster reload. You can put a better sight on it for better accuracy, and then your character stats also impact how effective weaponry is. So if you spec into long guns but not handguns, then you're not gonna be as accurate, and you're not gonna do as much damage with a handgun. But you'll do much better damage with something like an assault rifle or a sniper rifle.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
A science weapon that I think you get pretty early that's somewhat easy to get is the shrink ray.
Yes.
I don't know if you got the shrink ray, Tefty.
I don't think I did. Is it
you
called
shoot it
shrink
at
ray?
people, and it's called the shrink ray.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
It shrinks people.
It looks like a
Imagine.
like a 1950s sci-fi toy gun.
Oh, that's cool.
Like it really looks awesome. I didn't find it super useful in combat though. Did you find it was useful to shrink people?
I think it's kind of like how you use Divinity in Destiny, and it's like you're like, yeah, I'm gonna hit him, make a crit spot, and switch to a weapon and shoot him, but you can't really because it goes away. Yeah. The shrink ray is very similar in that you have to continuously shoot them with the shrink ray, otherwise they'll get unshrunk.
Oh,
and the shrink ray does actually do a decent amount of damage. I think a lot of science weapons, their damage and their effects are affected by your science stat.
Okay, yeah.
You got to be a master scientist to use the science weapons.
Right. There's also some perks in your skill tree that you can specifically select for science weapon damage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I found that it was when I realized that, and I'm not just shrinking them and then switching to another weapon to do damage and just doing damage with the shrink ray. I found it pretty good.
You know what I haven't tried yet is equipping a science weapon onto one of my companions, because you can bring 2 companions along with you at any time. Who are very well voice acted and have a ton of character to them, which I really enjoy about the game.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually tried equipping them with a science weapon, because maybe that would
actually be good. Give your friend the shrink ray, and then you just shoot him with the other weapon.
They shrink that Manta Queen, then you go to town.
Right. Manta Queens are tough.
They are.
Are you guys playing on normal, hard? What difficulty did you guys go with?
I went with hard for me.
I went with normal.
I went with hard as well. I was doing hard at first because that had been recommended to me. I was like, this is real hard. Like in the first like place you go to, when your weapon, your reticle is right on somebody, and that bullets are just flying all around them. Like you're not hitting anybody. I switched to normal. I'm like, oh no, this is way too easy. So I went to hard again. I've been playing it hard for the most part. Once you get companions too, it gets way easier, because companions have abilities that you can use, and they do massive damage.
One thing actually what I found was tinkering with your weapons, because you can go up to 5 levels past where you currently are for your weapons, and the what's it called? When you have to maintain them, they
repair.
Yeah, the repair. There's the stat, the duration, durability. That's what it is. I was trying
durability.
The durability stat. When that tanks, the damage tanks dramatically. It's crazy. So as long as you're keeping aware of tinkering to upgrade the weapon and then maintaining it for the durability, then you usually stay on point with those enemies. But if you don't, you fall behind really quick. You feel like you're...
And I am an engineer, so I can, fix my stuff wherever I want.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's solid.
That is. It's very nice.
And I'm a scientist.
So I think the real highlight of the game so far for me has been the story, the lore of the whole system, and the individual stories of the people you talk to are just absolutely fascinating. The first
really
world you go to, Terra 1, you go to this town called Edgewater, which is it's a cannery kind of, where they sell something called, what is it? Tuna? Something tuna?
It's like salt tuna or something.
Salt tuna, right?
Yeah.
And the town is dying. The people who live there are sick, and you kind of come to realize it's because they're overworked and all they eat is this salt tuna, which isn't even real salt tuna. Like, it's not even real. And then you find
they only give medicine to those who they find useful as well.
Right.
So if you're not useful, you can't get the medicine. If you're sick and you're not useful, they just keep saying to you, "Well, how about you work harder?" And then you will get some medicine.
Right. There's one piece of dialogue that says, "Please schedule all sick time 5 weeks in advance." And then you find out that there's actually like this offshoot of this community that's gone to live at this kind of what is it called? Like a biofarm?
Botanical garden?
Yeah.
Botanical garden, right.
Yeah.
And they have actually cut down on the sickness, but they really can't stand the people that run the cannery, the town, Edgewater.
Because they suck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you're confronted with this choice because you have to get off of this planet. And the only way to do so is to steal a power cell from either the Botanical Gardens or the town of Edgewater. And both factions obviously are trying to get you to steal from the other guys, right? And like, our way of life is worth preserving. Don't steal from us. And the corporate guys are kind of like, well, no, we're not doing a fantastic job, but we're doing the best we can. We're doing the best we can. And the people at the Botanical Gardens are like, well, that is an impressive place to live. It's awful. The guy who runs it is a moron. Don't cut our way off a life off. This is really a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
So what did you guys choose?
I saved the gardens.
I saved the gardens.
Yeah.
Save the gardens. I saved the gardens as well.
It's a tough choice.
And then you realize it is a tough choice, right?
Yeah, it is. Especially as when you go to make the decision, your partner then starts giving you this whole conversation about why you should save Edgewater and the people. There's actually some really hardworking people there, and they're very good people, and they're just trying to get by. Even though if you don't like the guys at the top, think about all those people that you're gonna.
It's never really made clear that the Botanical Gardens will take these people in.
No, not made clear at all.
I would have had an easier choice if the Botanical Gardens were saying, yes, shut them off. We'll take in those people. We'll show them this beautiful way of life that we've developed here. No, they're not really about that.
They're pretty protective of their area.
Yeah. And also, the leader of the Botanical Gardens is not the greatest person.
Adelaide.
Well, to be fair, she did give me a plant that's now on my ship.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
So that was nice for her.
I didn't get that plant. I don't think I did exactly what Adelaide wanted. I actually, now that I think about it, I did not choose the Botanical Gardens. I chose Edgewater.
Oh, okay.
And I had a secondary quest after that to make the people of the Botanical Gardens go back to Edgewater.
Got it.
Ah, yes.
How'd that work out?
And that good for some people and really bad for other people. But everybody but one person survived.
Everybody but one person.
Yeah.
From the deserter group or from the...
It was Adelaide.
Tannery. Now, Adelaide went.
Oh, really?
And she now runs Edgewater.
Okay, now we know. Got it.
But that's the kind of decision making that I thought was really interesting. Is you're really right at the beginning of the game confronted with these decisions that are really murky, kind of gray. You don't know how they're going to work out because you can't see into the future.
So nothing's black or white.
Yeah. No. So let me tell you what happened with me real quick, just to give a very opposite reaction or an opposite.
Yeah, and then
tale.
mine's also the same decision as Tefty's, but opposite of what that kind of happened after the big decision. So we'll talk about how that changes.
So I ended up siding with Adelaide with the botanical garden. I go and I reroute power to the botanical garden. And then I go back to Thompson, and he's pissed. He's like,
he's mad. He didn't even say hi. He's just like,
he's just, this smug look, He's like, I can't believe I trusted you. I can't that. I should have known.
Well,
better.
You've doomed everybody in Edgewater to death.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he said like he's gonna die because they're gonna try him with like whatever corporate badness, and everybody's gonna die because the food's gonna go away and all this stuff. And I'm like, damn, that sucks. And I had an option to be a real dick too and being like, not my problem, dude.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. This whole time you could be like, and I'm here for the power, dude. Right? Shut up.
I need to get off this goddamn hellhole.
Which I wasn't. My character's not like a straight up dick. At times, can't act like a dick. But like I'm a nice person. So he he tells me this stuff, and he's like, as soon as you leave, they're gonna hunt you down and start shooting you. And then there's an intimidate option, and I intimidate him to call off the guards and let me walk free. So I do that. And I'm like, I take the power core, and I'm like, later, bitch.
So Tefty, my situation. So my character is, she's like a shut-in scientist, engineer, hacker. She has no social skills. She can't intimidate. She's also very weak. She's not spectating.
No intimidation.
Strength. So I had no intimidation option. So I didn't even have any option to ask him to chill. My options were like, not my problem, peace, or like, nothing personal. I just really need the thing, or I'm really sorry. So I didn't have that option. So everyone tried to murder me because I didn't have that option.
Amazing.
So I kind of killed the entire town.
So you killed Edgewater.
The entire town.
Most of them.
Wow.
You're
Some
like,
of the residents.
Let's rip this Band-Aid.
Yes.
You're gonna die.
No, I initially didn't like my choice because I knew, I didn't want to destroy the way of life that the people at the botanical gardens were living, because it was, I thought it was much more healthy. They were free of the corporate overlords.
Yeah.
But I couldn't doom an entire town to death. You guys had no such compunction.
Well, I didn't know that the entire town was going to attack me.
You literally shot them.
No, they attacked me. I was in the room and all of them come running down the stairs. To be fair, I did get a really cool weapon from somebody called the Peacekeeper.
Oh, Peacekeeper, nice.
That's
I got the Peacekeeper because I killed the
nice and peaceful around those parts once they're all dead, right?
Yeah, it's great. And then the remaining people, I can pickpocket.
Oh,
that's the kind of decisions though that I really find interesting in a game like this, right? It's like you're kind of forced to make these decisions on the fly. I choose not to save scum these kind of things,
right? Because
it's interesting to see how it plays out. And then later in the game, I'm interested to see, are there repercussions to the decisions I made in Edgewater, right? Like the whole kind of galaxy is controlled by this corporate overstructure called the board, which I haven't met yet. So I'm really looking forward to meeting them and finding out, because you have reputation with the board and with each individual corporation that runs each individual planet. And then you have, there's so many factions in this game, and you have reputation with all of them. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out as we continue on.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's been a bunch of those type of things. Yeah, every area you go to, you essentially have this confliction of who do you help, who do you screw, essentially. And it's been fascinating. It's really fun to play. It's really well done. Just like you said, you don't have intimidation options, Watts, so you don't even get those. It doesn't show up for you. I've got persuasion, intimidation, I guess
lie.
Yeah, lie. I've got lie as well. That happened.
Yeah.
So what I can do is perception. So you can perceive the person being a little bit nervous about what they're saying. And you can say, oh, you seem a bit nervous. What are you doing there? Whereas if you didn't have the perception skill. You wouldn't be able to do that. And then with the engineer one, it actually gives you some other dialogue options as well. If someone's tinkering with something, they're like, I can't get it to work. You can say, you just do the thing, because I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. So you get some different dialogue options doing the science stuff as well.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the game graphically? It looks like, I think it looks pretty amazing. And each planet that you visit looks very distinct.
Yeah. I get the impression it's like a like an old school comic advertisement. It's like if they took a 1950s portrayal of science future in the stars and all that and put it into a 3D game. Like that's the impression I get. And I love it.
Reminiscent of Fallout.
It is reminiscent of Fallout, but it's got its own thing too.
It's like Fallout with like a what was the Far Cry dragon thing? The like 80s.
Oh yeah, Blood Dragon?
Yeah, Blood Dragon. It's like those kind of mixed together because it's got that kind of like neon-y vibe in a lot of the places. A lot of the palette can be very neon-y. But yeah, it's like it's in the middle of being cartoony and realistic. It's not too cartoony, it's not too realistic, which is really cool.
The graphically, I think it looks fantastic. I was not super happy with how the game runs.
Yeah, it's got frame
it's
problems.
A little choppy. Yeah, it's a little framey. I'm hoping that they patch it to. I'm playing on PC. I've got a 2080 Ti, and sometimes it struggles to get 60 FPS.
4K. You playing
4K? No, I'm playing at 2560 by 1440.
Wow, 1440 and struggling to maintain 60.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes it's at 130. Sometimes when I'm in a town, it can be pretty low, and it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for a patch that kind of helps with the performance a little bit. It's running on Unreal, and we know they can do fantastic things with Unreal. So, they were very clear, though, in the lead up to releasing this game that this was a very time and budget focused project. Just FYI, we didn't have a lot of time, and we had less money. So for what they achieved, I think it's fantastic.
Oh, they did fantastic. I haven't come across any bugs where I'm like, that's bad and weird.
Right.
What's happening? Which is, something you don't really find these days, to be honest. There's always, something that needs to be patched or worked on. And another thing that I think they did amazing with is I'm not normally someone to go to each note or each computer and read everything. But in this game, I really want to. In Outer Worlds, I really want to read everything. Because you feel so rewarded when you go into a conversation with someone and you read something that they're talking about and you're like, hold on a second. Yeah, I know this isn't exactly what you say it is because I read about it.
That's when
it's a good payoff.
Hit kicks in. Intimidate them with the knowledge that you know.
Yeah, you do. You get a big payoff for actually investing in the world, which is really
cool. And you can find some really good stuff too.
You do.
Yeah. I do the same thing, Watts, but I don't actually read it because there's so much text. I'm like, cool.
Usually it's not that much. It's like a few sentences.
Yeah.
That's something else that I really like is that a lot of the text you are reading is quite short. So you don't see like 5 pages and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read that. It's not a slog to read the stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this game. This game feels like comfort food for me. This is the exact kind of game that I can sit in front of my computer and spend 6 hours in a stretch. It reminds me so much of playing like Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, or playing, something for like BioWare's old days, like Knights of the Old Republic or Mass Effect. It's just a super fun world to be in, and it's super well done.
Yeah, it's honestly really surprising this was a time crunched, lowish budget type of game because it does not feel that way.
No, I would not have guessed.
Like
Microsoft's already said publicly, because Microsoft bought Obsidian. They've already said publicly, there will be a second one. We are very happy with this one.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game.
It's real. It's
the dialogue is great. Like I think things that could fault is if you're really particular about facial animations and people looking kind of dead when they look at you. Yeah, that could have been better, but like.
I like to think of that as just the old corporate do-over. That's what it does to you. The corporate makeover.
It's the corporate malaise.
They're all dead inside from years of corporate slavery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the characters though, like is that her name Parvati, one of the first people that you meet?
Yeah, the mechanic.
Like her whole story so far, I've been like so invested in. Like I just want nothing but the best for Parvati.
Right?
Just want her to be really happy again, married and smell of roses.
Yeah. Right.
There was a line that she said that we were on Monarch and she was talking to Nyoka, how you pronounce her name? And I think she had mentioned weekends, Nyoka, and Parvati was like, "What's weekends? Weekends? What? Like I've never even heard of this concept." So
I also love that the companions you bring along with you join in on the conversations with NPCs out in the world. So you could have so many different playthroughs based on who you have on your ship and who's with you. Which is really cool.
They'll start chatting up each other too, like while you're just kind of randomly walking around, and they'll get into arguments and stuff depending on who you.
You're like, oh god.
Some of them have like really different viewpoints on how the world should be, and that's pretty interesting too. I gotta say, it's a fantastic game. The combat is okay. It's not amazing. Like I don't find that
it's passable.
It's a lot better than I thought it would be, though.
Yeah, it's not awful.
Because I was expecting it to not be great. Because Fallout's combat, I was kind of like,
Yeah,
I feel like it's better than Fallout's combat.
I would
definitely better.
Yeah,
still not like amazing. Like
no,
you're limited into the options that you have. It's mostly like sneak around them. You know, you got melee, you got shoot 'em, you got your companion options, but it's like, I don't know, some more tactical options would have been appreciated to exploit.
The companion options they get old really quick too when they're always doing that cutscene.
There's a custom animation for each one.
Yeah, I like the preacher.
They're worth doing though, because
they're definitely worth doing.
The preacher is amazing.
Preacher's great, but like, you know, they start repeating the lines, and then Nyoka is always screaming.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah, I think what I'm doing now is I'm just fighting normally, and then if someone's really tough, then I'm like, okay, I'll press a companion button.
Pretty much what I do too. Yeah.
I always forget.
They also die super fast. Like they're not rugged.
I always forget the time dilation thing too. That you have time delay dilation.
I don't find it that useful.
Yeah, me neither. It's like, so you slow down
your
actions?
Inflicting effects on the enemy, so you can like cripple them or maim them or blind them and all of that. So it's good for them.
Thank you, science guru.
I am a scientist and a hacker. I hack at everything. It's a lot of fun. I pickpocketed a lot of people yesterday. It was just great.
It's great.
But it sounds like we're all really enjoying this game. I can't wait till we kind of finish it up and hear what you guys like ended up
like the full story.
So if you like RPGs and you have a PC or an Xbox, it's literally a no-brainer to pick up the Game Pass for $1 for a trial if you haven't already.
Yeah.
And play this game now.
Corporate Tefty at you again.
I am I'm reporting for duty, shilling as hard as possible.
It's not the best choice. It's Spacer's choice.
Yeah. It's a great game. Like, again, if you're not into those RPGs though, and you're not into the type of combat that it has, then it could be a turnoff for some people. And there is a lot of dialogue.
If you like Firefly, if you like that old TV show Firefly or the movie that they made off of it, Serenity, man, this is right up your alley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you like
very similar aesthetic?
Making life-altering decisions? You might like this game.
The Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's next up on the list? What else are we talking about today?
Call of Duty came out.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I heard this is the best Call of Duty since Modern Warfare.
You know, people were saying that in like people. So to be fair, a lot of people were like, "Oh man, this COD actually feels really good. We might have a really good COD on our hands." And then after it came out, I've seen a lot of complaints about map design. People say that these are the worst maps.
What's wrong with them? Are they too big or are they too small? Like, what's going on?
I don't know what people's complaints are. I know that there's a lot of places for you to hide. And I saw one clip on Twitter, which was hilarious. There was a sheet. It's like a sheet of fabric. And someone was sitting behind the sheet of fabric, peeking through a little hole, waiting for someone with a claymore in front of them. And they were just waiting for
Claymores are back? Oh, boy.
Yeah, so that's something else people are not a fan of. If people are just like camping out in an area and throwing down the claymore, and you turn a corner, So many claymores.
Yeah, there's a lot more stuff going on as well because obviously they've got like the kind of conventional COD modes you like, but they've obviously got this new ground war mode which has got like a lot more people in. Yeah. So I guess if you're kind of like the usual COD audience and you're kind of running into what is effectively kind of like a Battlefield kind of setup, maybe they're not so used to the fact that like there's like you can have people shot from everywhere. Like I saw clip today of someone just like respawning all the time and getting shot from like there was one person where they were like, this is literally what you have to do to cross a road. Like they peeked out from like a wall, like left, right. Okay, I think it's safe. They walk out and they just get completely annihilated.
Basically, all the maps are filled with tons of windows, tons of doors. You have no idea where anyone could be at any moment because there's just annoying. So much. It is annoying. It's super annoying.
However, it does look like for me, I'm not a massive shooter like fan. I don't really play a great deal of like COD or Battlefield. Like, I have played them. I've played most of them in my time, but I've never kind of sunk like too deeply into them. But what is interesting about like COD is like, and I haven't had a chance to like jump myself, but like just from watching videos of it, it does look like a really like when it actually works well and it's kind of everyone's enjoying it. It looks like a really good blend of like Battlefield and COD. Like got together and just like took the best bits of both games because like I understand for example why people play Battlefield because there's some really like large scale epic battles, but for me like I've always found it quite annoying because I'll spawn, I feel like I'm walking for like 10 million years, I then get sniped and then I have to go and respawn. And I've never felt like, for me personally, I've never really liked the way that guns have felt in Battlefield, whereas like COD is obviously naturally a little bit more arcadey. It just kind of you got that sort of nice feedback, so they've always like gun handling's been pretty good, but it's always been quite small and condensed. So suddenly like combining these two things and having like really good gunplay in a much bigger setting, a more sort of Battlefield setting, you can even get like tanks and start firing down. So like in some of the ground war missions, it looks like you're for all intents and purposes playing like a Battlefield style game. So it looks quite cool. Looks, I mean, like some of the new things I've added in definitely look really interesting.
I've heard that the campaign has been pretty enjoyable. The campaign's
graphically, it looks pretty good too.
Graphically, it looks great. I think so. From what I've seen from people saying stuff, there seems to be two camps of people who like the very tactical kind of search and destroy type stuff are having a good time. People who want to play the bread and butter Call of Duty experience, which is domination and team deathmatch and just running around and getting a bunch of kills and really high kill streaks, are not enjoying it.
Okay. That's a problem because that's what Call of Duty does, right? It's like if you got maps where people are just camping everywhere, like it just becomes really annoying. And claymores are bad. I mean, they got rid of claymores several years ago. But those are just annoying.
They are
especially
annoying.
If people are good at placing them around corners and stuff. You run around a corner, you just get blown up. The guy's not even there anymore.
Yeah. It seems like Call of Duty at the moment, I think the biggest problem they have is they don't know what they want to be. They've gone through so many iterations of like they were a war kind of boots on the ground game, and then they went to being space people jumping around with suits and stuff, and then they're like, okay, bring it back, and now they're doing this whole like Battlefield type more tactical stuff. It just seems like they just don't know what their identity is anymore.
It's hard to make a series like that where you have to make a new one every year, and you've got to think of something new, but also not piss off the long-term fans who just want the same thing but with new maps and new guns. Like it's not an easy fan base to please, the Call of Duty fan base. And they've been trying for a long time now.
They also have it set up.
I wonder whether maybe they're...
I was just going to say they also have it set up for these guys to expect a yearly refresh. And I think that also hurts it. Like they could just build on what they have, but instead they have to make a new one every single time that's different.
Is there a battle royale this year?
No,
don't think so. No, at least not in launch. Unless they have like plans to kind of drop it later. But I think, they're kind of leaving that one out. But I do wonder whether sort of like then maybe their choice of sort of trying to bring in like this larger scale ground wars, because I know that like I've been hearing sort of a lot of positive stuff about where Battlefield's going now, but I know for a while Battlefield 5 was like in a really rough spot, and like a lot of people were kind of complaining about it. So I wonder almost whether their decision behind it was like, oh, maybe we can kind of swipe some of that Battlefield audience and bring them over to COD with like our new mode kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Like what they want is that yearly payment and the pass that they sell. So like that's what they're looking for, and it seems like they keep running into these issues with refreshing everything every year. I wonder if like hardcore Call of Duty fans would just go for the Fallout $7,600 a year pass.
Oh my god, have you guys heard about that?
Well,
yes, I have.
We got to finish Call of Duty first.
Oh, do we? We're done, right? People are mad. It's Call of Duty. They're upset.
Yeah, Call of Duty fans are mad.
Well, I want to know
for the first time in. Oh wait, no, it's every year they get mad.
Well, I wanted to say, have you guys played it? Because I haven't. I didn't buy it this year.
Nope.
I'm not super happy with Activision right now, so I'm not like throwing my money at them like super willingly right now.
Okay.
I haven't personally. I mean, like, all my friends have been playing it. Like, they've been having like a blast. So like, I watched they were streaming it today. So like, it definitely looks like quite fun. But yeah, I haven't personally had a chance to jump on myself. I was like, it's not the sort of thing you can just sort of jump into quickly because it's also 120 gigabytes to download. So if you're like, oh, let me just quickly download it, it's like, okay, no, I'll play that tomorrow.
Unless you have fiber optic gigabit internet, of course, obviously, right? Right.
Unless that, yeah. Streaming directly from your Apple Watch, right? Yeah.
Like to be honest with you, of the whole package, the most interesting thing to me is the campaign, because the original Modern Warfare campaign was so cool, and Modern Warfare 2's campaign was so cool. Even though there's a reboot, like I do still feel some connection to those characters, but man, I stopped playing campaigns in Call of Duty altogether. Like I would just buy it for the multiplayer probably around the time Black Ops came out. Well, Black Ops 1 I played campaign. I don't know, like at some point I just started buying them just for the multiplayer.
I like zombies.
They're not getting that. I never dug zombies that much. It wasn't my thing.
Zombie was fun, especially doing the Easter egg stuff, but at a certain point I'm like,
that right?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Destiny feels, for me, in that category of like solving an Easter egg. I feel like Destiny ends up solving so many of those things that I want in a video game.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the biggest thing with me as well, is Destiny's kind of got what I want in it in terms of how it feels, how it plays, stuff to do in it, that Call of Duty just doesn't really interest me anymore.
Yeah, I don't really like the multiplayer. I think it's
I used to love the multiplayer,
especially if people are camping in windows in like 8 different sight lines. Good lord,
that's my nightmare.
I would.
No, thank you.
That's when I dropped out of Call of Duty's multiplayer. It was when I think it was Infinite Warfare. There was just like there were people flying over buildings. There were people coming through windows. Like there was just,
I remember that
too much.
It felt like it stopped becoming about like knowing the map and like, controlling an area, and more about just pure Twitch skill.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you just had to be the fastest person on the map.
Yeah.
And that's when I it was always arcadey, but there was some tactical play to it too. And it just felt like it just went further down that road of losing the tactical play and just getting more Twitch skill based.
Felt like you had less and less control over engagements.
Well, on the topic of cash grabs, then Fallout 76.
Can I tell you a funny story about this?
Yes, please.
So apparently, if you go on the Fallout Reddit,
just say what they're saying, like what they did.
Okay, so Fallout is offering $100 for a measly $100 for a year.
Measly.
You can get Fallout First, which allows you to have your own private server. Which, spoiler, it's actually not private. So
it's not.
It's a lot of this stuff is not working, which is really funny as well.
Surprise!
They give you some money to be able to buy microtransaction stuff every month. They give you a stash where you can store more things. They give you a portable.
The stash is getting deleted. I heard about that.
That's another thing. Someone put all of their stuff in the stash, and all their stuff is gone, and they can't get it back because they got deleted. Ooh. It's basically pay us to get some stuff, and also it's not working. By the way,
this I know it's
monthly
hilarious
payment,
like on the surface of it, but this is obviously just for the most hardcore of Fallout 76 fans,
all 8 of them,
who want that. They want those private servers, they want those extra features, and they're willing to pay for it. Obviously,
the crazy thing though.
Obviously, private servers are going to cost money, and basically Bethesda is just passing that cost on.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is the pricing model. I mean, obviously, I know servers aren't cheap, but someone put up a tweet the other day, and they compared the pricing model to like everything else, like WoW subscriptions, Netflix subscriptions, Amazon Prime. It outperforms all of those, and it's like, I mean, I obviously I haven't been following Fallout. I'm not really a Fallout person, hence why I didn't really get into Outer Worlds either, right? But the only thing I heard of Fallout 76 was that it was a colossal mess, right? That's all. That's the only bit I know. I don't know if there's like a now. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a now reality where they've improved it. But like the last I heard of it was like, oh, this thing just like they buried it under the carpet or something, and something like, hey, you want to buy a subscription for our broken ass game?
So yeah, at the E3 conference, they like literally made a joke about it being a rough game. And how they were still working on it, and like
there is a dedicated community that plays it and loves it. Yeah, to me, it reminds me a lot of the original Destiny 1 Year 1 community, where the game came out, it wasn't as good as people expected it to be, but some people just fell head over heels in love with it. But instead of getting Shadowkeep in Year 2, they got this.
But the funny thing is, like, this is the Fortune linked it in chat as well. Like, I saw this morning. This is what made me laugh. Is like there is now a class war in Fallout 76. So they're like people that have got the Fallout First badge are being ganged up on by people that don't have it,
and they're beating them up.
Yeah, one person was exactly right. One person said they what was it? They were in a they were in like a shed or something, and then people came in like dressed as teddy bear costumes, and they just like kept on beating them up because they all had like the first thing.
Please say that video is somewhere and I can watch it for costumes.
I got beaten up when I decided to do the Mothman emo in Vault 51. At least 5 to 7 people in teddy bear costumes kept punching me.
Oh man, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
It may be worth logging into Fallout 76.
Yeah.
Just to see the chaos.
That's crazy, man. So what do you think Bethesda is actually doing with this? Because keep in mind, this announcement is within days of the release of Outer Worlds, and Outer Worlds is a developer that they did Fallout 1 and 2 in New Vegas, and then like split off, obviously. And do you think there's some sort of weird power struggle?
Did you hear Did you hear the funny conspiracy theory?
No,
there was a conspiracy theory where there was like, what was it? There was like a disgruntled Bethesda employee. No, what was it? Someone said something along the lines of like, yeah, there was a disgruntled Bethesda employee who like at one point got into like a lower down position, then eventually kind of like worked his way up to like a senior communications role. Where on the day just before Outer Worlds came out, they decided to announce the Fallout like season pass, and they're like, then everyone starts hating on it. They're like, oh, by the way, Outer Worlds came out, and he's like a double agent for Obsidian apparently.
As a double agent, that's the only explanation.
I could see that. It's just,
I love it.
There just doesn't really seem like a lot of value in that $100 a year.
Yeah, definitely not.
Well, the private servers, if someone is on your friends list, they can just join your world. So you have to like remove, if you don't want someone joining your world and you want to be alone, or you want to play with maybe 2 other people who you're doing something with, you just have to remove them from your friends list. Also, the world's not persistent. So as soon as you guys leave that server,
it doesn't save?
Everything's gone.
Oh my God.
Is that a bug or like designed that way?
You have to buy the extra $100 pack if you want to have the persistent server.
I really hope it's not.
Because I was thinking to myself, I could really see, like, imagine you had your own server and you could build up all these structures and really, like, almost Minecraft yourself into like a cool Fallout 76 server. But it's that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Does that mean people have to stay online all the time?
You have to have someone sitting in the server the entire time. If everyone leaves,
what happens if they have a mandatory server reset? They're like, oh, we're
going to internet goes out or something. Yeah.
That's just,
oh my God,
that's awful. The timing with this, with Outer Worlds, it just seems like they were like, oh, we got to get something out there because of Outer Worlds. Let's have this season pass.
I'll tell you, Bethesda's stepping into so much shit too. It's got me worried about like their future, like their future games. Doom just got delayed, right? Is that so they could add more microtransactions? Like, what's going on there?
I hope not. Oh God,
was it Starfield that we're waiting for, the space one? Like that looks really interesting, but knowing that what Bethesda's been doing lately definitely tampers some of my enthusiasm for their future projects.
Yeah, it really does.
They're kind of ruining their reputation.
Yeah,
I guess you could say they're Fallout with their fans.
Oh,
zing! That's a zinger.
Wow.
Yeah, they just really seem out of touch with like the fan base and what people want as gamers.
Yeah,
it's strange.
you know, and they were one of those 2 or 3 years ago. It was recent that they were like the Exalted, you know, like anything from Bethesda, I will buy, you know, like they were one of those, and that was recent.
Yeah, and then they released Skyrim. I got Skyrim on my Apple Watch.
Wow.
I'd be surprised if they didn't do that.
Skyrim's on Alexa.
Do it on Amazon Alexa.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's crazy. What's next?
Well, on the topic of angry people, how about more angry people?
Yeah,
you know what else people are not happy about? Apparently, Death Stranding is also coming to PC, and
that
you know
is
what?
amazing.
That's great news.
That sounds like
great,
joy,
right? It's brilliant, but apparently people are like, no, this is unacceptable. I don't want people to be able to play my PlayStation game on a platform other than the PlayStation. Therefore, I'm going to cancel my pre-order.
You, sir, are a son of a bitch. Why would somebody be upset that the game is coming to more than one platform? You've got to be truly an asshole.
It really does baffle me. It's like there was a tweet like a long time ago for like a different game. It was like an Xbox One, and then like when they announced it was coming to PC, like Phil Spencer actually responded to it. He's like, "So let me get this straight. You're canceling your pre-order for a game that you've been excited for because more people can play it on a different platform."
Yeah.
And then the response was like, no, it's the principle. You should have announced it before. It's like, why does it matter?
Why does it matter? I don't understand how this affects literally anything besides more people playing it and Kojima getting more success from his game, which would enable him to make more games that you can play.
Exactly.
Thing.
The release date for the PC version, though, is summer, right? In the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
So that's a ways away. And I'll be honest with you, I'm buying it on PlayStation because I want to be in the zeitgeist of confused.
I want to know,
playing Death Stranding.
I want to play it right away and get super confused.
Yeah. Fran is reviewing it, right? And he said the review embargo is up on like to November 1st or 2nd. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's coming up. That's really soon.
Yeah. He told us everything too, so we're gonna break his NDA right now. Let's get to it.
He gives all the good deets.
On the plus side, at least if you're going on PC, you won't have to worry about spoilers because the game's gonna be so damn confusing that it won't even make sense. Anyway, right?
That's true. No one's gonna be like, "Hey, this is the game. This is what it's about. This is what happens." You just be like, "Nope, no one knows what happens." Or
it's like playing Mad Libs. It's like nonsensical.
Yeah. It's so weird to be hung up on that.
PC, right? It now means they'll probably be able to have mod support. So now maybe I can put myself in the game and I can be one of the celebrities inside Death Stranding 2.
There you go.
Nice.
So I can be a baby being held by the...
Exactly. In the latest trailer, have you seen that? What's his name? Conan O'Brien's in it. It's the weirdest trailer, right? Everything like gets weirder and weirder about this game, but it's like Conan O'Brien's there and gives you an otter hat, and then you can swim in a lake, and just like, okay, of course,
that's how that happens.
You can literally do the stupidest thing in Death Stranding, and I'm just like, that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean that makes complete sense.
That's so weird.
I'm still skeptical that this game's actually going to come out. I'm skeptical it's even a game. I think they're like paying reviewers just to say they're reviewing it, but they're not.
It's just like a press X to start the game, and then it goes through all these cinematics, and it's like, you're done. Roll credits.
Yeah.
Just be like one of those, like, if Metal Gear Solid 4 will be like some 3 or 4 hour long credits. I mean, you know what? I'd actually be completely cool if it turned out I put the disc in and I booted up the game and it was literally just like play episode, and it turned out he just made like a 24 episode Netflix series into a PS4 game.
He did want to make a TV show.
He did, yeah.
That'd be
this
amazing.
is way around it. It's a TV show. It's just on your PlayStation in a disc form. Yeah.
You know what would probably be entertaining is to like make a playlist of like the very first trailer. Remember with like Guillermo del Toro in like a sewer tunnel, and what's his name? Mads Mikkelsen is the bad guy.
Yeah.
And just watch all the way through to the very last trailer, like because it doesn't look like the same game, like at all.
Yeah. True. Looks very different.
Maybe that is the game. It's just all the trailers stitched together,
right?
Hilarious.
And then you just walk between the different trailers, like it's just
yeah.
It's like an old. You got to make your own trailer.
Yeah.
Like old CNC Music Factory video maker.
Yeah. Actually, the trailer is you walking through the landscape, delivering packages with your baby.
Right.
Yeah. Your
your
BB.
Yeah.
You now work for FedEx.
baby.
Congratulations.
Names are going. You deliver packages for 8 hours. That's the whole credits.
And then pee on the ground to make mushrooms grow as well. Don't forget, very important.
Oh, man.
Highly
That'd
important.
be a pretty interesting skill.
Yeah, mushroom piss.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of mushrooms?
I'm hoping for the fun ones. Frankly,
You definitely don't want like criminy or no. You don't want to be eating those mushrooms.
Yeah, these aren't for eating. These are for getting high. I guess you got to eat them anyway.
You got to eat those, yeah.
You gotta eat those.
You guys want to talk about Mixer scooping up some top tier talent?
Yes.
Some high profile
There's
content.
some things that have happened since last SideQuest. First, that was Shroud.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Shroud
went over to Mixer, which is he's apparently like the biggest streamer, just in general now.
Yeah.
Shroud.
So
yeah.
Shroud is massive.
Yep. And then King Gothalion.
And then Gothalion,
which was definitely a big surprise.
Yeah.
And
for our community in particular, Goth was probably bigger news than Shroud, right? Because obviously the Destiny community, and he is, a leader of the Destiny community on Twitch.
Yeah.
So big news, him going over to Mixer. I think his first stream is tomorrow. Is that right, or is it today?
No,
it's tomorrow. Yeah. It's for all the Destiny dungeon Halloween stuff.
Yep. Yeah, so Mixer's making big moves. Obviously, they still have a lot of market share to catch up when it comes to overall viewership, in the market. And Twitch is a behemoth when it comes to those numbers.
A behemoth.
But Twitch had to start somewhere and grow, and Mixer has Microsoft. Microsoft owns Mixer and is fully backing it, obviously, and it's also connected directly into the Xbox system and their PC setup and all that. So, if I were looking at the options, if you're not going to be on Twitch, there's Facebook and there's Mixer. And I'm sure there's other platforms. There's YouTube as well. YouTube also seems like a nebulous box, a black hole of stuff that you can't get an answer out of, when it comes to YouTube.
I don't really feel like there's a streaming community in YouTube, though. You know what I mean?
No. It seems like it's almost sort of like, because I remember there was that one point where they made the really big push, and obviously they did a whole YouTube gaming thing, which they've now taken apart and then just kind of gone back to YouTube. But I don't really hear people talking about YouTube streaming anymore. It's almost like they've just realized that it wasn't working for them, and they've tried to brush over the carpet.
Yeah, it's more of like like people create dedicated streaming careers on Twitch and obviously Mixer and Facebook. And it feels like YouTube. It's like to me, anyways, it feels like a secondary thing. Like you make a YouTube channel, and then every now and then you have events that you live stream for the channel because it's part of the content. Whereas YouTube can be very much so secondary for most streamers if they focus on streaming.
Yeah. Twitch grew in a vacuum though, and now that Twitch is big. Right, it's like Mixer, Facebook. These aren't small companies either. Like there's a lot of weight behind both of those companies.
Yeah,
and like you said, it's like if you go to the Xbox dashboard, or if you go to even the Xbox app on PC, and you select the game, you see the Mixer, players right there, and you can watch clips. You can watch it right from in there. So with the next gen of consoles coming, Xbox I don't feel like performed that well during this generation of consoles. Although I do think it's catching up somewhat. With the next generation coming around, it could be another thing where, I remember the early days of Destiny streaming where some of the top guys were the people who started streaming from their PlayStation because they were getting so much exposure on PlayStations.
Yep.
Right. Because their stream would show up on PlayStation consoles and people would just click on that and their viewer numbers would be a lot higher than somebody who's streaming from a PC.
Yeah, there was a time also
that kind of integration can work.
Yeah, there was a time where a lot of people were afraid to switch over from PlayStation streaming to PC because they lost that support of showing up on the game on PlayStation. That was a big concern for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Again, it's Amazon versus Microsoft. If you look at parent companies, so money's not a problem.
Money's not a problem for anybody in this fight.
No.
Well, that's also good for the creators, right? It's like now we have a situation where creators are seen as the talent and as an asset. And, it's like there's like free agency now, we want we'll pay Shroud a big contract to come over and stream on Mixer because, he's going to bring, viewers over here and, make Mixer a better place. And then, Facebook's doing the same, right? It's like True Vanguard started streaming over on Facebook, and now Gothalions over on Mixer. Like this is a big deal for streamers, who theoretically the boat raises all, or the high tide raises all boats.
The boat raises the tide.
Yeah,
something like that.
Tide, something pirates and
Yarg.
Yarg, is what we're saying. I do say that I will say that I think the strategy that Mixer's doing at the moment, maybe we just don't hear that they're getting smaller or mid-sized streamers. But I think that getting the just focusing on behemoths is not the greatest choice to actually grow the platform. Because all you're doing, if you're bringing over like Shroud or Ninja, for example, or Gothalion, is you're bringing over their fans. But I don't necessarily see that being, oh, well, now I go to Mixer because, this streamer's here, but then also the streamer who maybe has like 300 viewers on Twitch is over there. They're getting like big behemoths paying them $30+ million when they could actually be getting smaller or medium-sized streamers and just scattering them throughout all of the directory, getting more variety streamers, and just bringing up the whole numbers of the website in general, instead of just, here's a behemoth, let's pump up, BRs or Fortnite or.
I can see that being a really effective phase 2 strategy to what they're doing now.
I think that would work. Yeah.
For a while now, I think it's probably smarter to, like, if you're just starting to stream today, like, I think it's smarter to go to Mixer because there's just less people there. There's less competition.
There's also a lot less people to actually come and watch it.
Yeah, but on Twitch, if you got 0 viewers, you're like with 300 other people who have 0 viewers at the bottom of a direct.
Well, I would say that.
Well, I think part of the strategy as well is like by bringing the kind of the big people in first. It's the same sort of thing as like if you get sort of like a big movie star to talk about like your brand, for example. It's kind of, although as you say, like initially they're bringing their fans specifically over, I think because there's so much social media chat about those people specifically moving, it suddenly brings attention to a platform that for a lot of people, like, I mean, we're obviously like, we're all within the stream space, so we're all familiar with, Facebook and Mixer and Twitch, but I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that still very much kind of just use their platform that might not know these other platforms properly exist, right? If they don't
never heard of it, certainly never went there.
Yeah, exactly. So if by doing that, suddenly it's like, 2 of the biggest or 3 of the biggest streamers, suddenly they're on this platform. Like, what's this Mixer platform? And then they might gradually start to move over and be like, all right, you know what? Like Gothalions finished the stream today. Well, I'm already on Mixer. Who else is streaming? And then I think that's how you kind of build that organic thing. So I think it might, it's clearly only like phase 1 of their strategy sort of thing. But I can definitely see there being that kind of, it'll probably inherently breed eventual organic growth, but I think initially it's just definitely like
I think it's going to be quite a while because you have to think Mixer has, if we're talking Mixer specifically, they have like 3 to 4% of the viewership of live viewers. So even if they double that, it's 8%.
Right.
Yeah. But you got to start somewhere.
It's not a lot. No, I know. I don't expect Mixer to like blow up instantly, right? But if you are a streamer who is currently on Twitch and you're doing all right, and Mixer is not handing you those fat checks, I don't know if it's going to be good for you to move over.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's not that many people there at the moment. I think you would do better to just stick with your community on Twitch and keep going. And that's what I don't want people to do, right? Is the smaller people who they're doing all right, but maybe they want to be doing better. And they're looking at Mixers like, oh, these people are going and it's Goth going over there and Shroud being there and Ninja going there. It's not going to affect you.
Yeah.
Right. They're getting paid to go there. And
they're getting paid a lot.
It seems very risky to alienate some of your community because 100% of your community is not moving with you.
Right.
There's less people there in general, so building the community may or may not be harder. I don't really know.
It's hard to say, right? It's difficult to.
Again, if you're already somewhat established on Twitch or another platform, then it's very difficult to make that transition. If you're just getting into streaming though, and you're looking to build a community, Mixer might be a great option, honestly, because again, it's a smaller pool. So you have that potential of getting into those directories and getting known and starting getting connected with the communities, because that's essentially what it comes down to with growing a stream is you get connected with communities and you grow that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Goth and Broman did when they started streaming Destiny was I remember him talking about how like the ecosystem and the Borderlands 2 directory was a little abrasive, wasn't quite like they said the top guys were always kind of keeping the stuff and not sharing it with like hosting and rating. And I remember them talking about how they specifically wanted to change that with the Destiny directory, where they always were trying to help everybody grow in the directory. And you could see that over the past few years, how that affected the Destiny directory and how that how that kind of created that feeling that was specifically in that directory. And you went to other directories on Twitch, didn't have the same type of thing that was going on in the Destiny directory. So that's a very powerful thing that can happen.
It is very powerful.
Yeah, it's very powerful if you have a couple community leaders that actually are actively trying to grow the community in a directory. It can spread really far.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you could get in on that,
like
with Mixer.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that's interesting as well is like, I mean, just from like an outside point of view, because obviously, I mean, I myself do like a lot more stuff on YouTube, but obviously part of the team, we do stuff on Twitch anyway. But it's more like, from what I see social media wise, like there's a lot of interaction between like specifically people that work at Mixer platform level. They're always engaging. They're always like, they always seem to be like talking about stuff, looking for feedback, and like, obviously following on from like Gothalion's post. It seems like Mixer definitely sound like, they obviously realize that they are the underdog and they've got like a lot of work to do. So it definitely seems like they're trying to put like a lot of effort into just building the platform and doing better things. Like I mean, maybe it's different like stateside, but obviously on the UK side, there's like minimal communication from like Twitch on anything, right? So, but I can visibly see, as someone that never goes to Mixer, I can already see like a load of the people. I can name different people on social media that I know that are part of that team that are working to build it. So even from like an outside perspective, like it definitely seems like they're working, like they're super dedicated to it. Whereas like Twitch, I guess, is one of those kind of things where they are still the big dog right now. So it's almost an element of complacency, right? They're just like, we're at the top, whatever, you can't really knock us down. So I think ultimately this is going to breed, like, competition breeds excellence, right? So hopefully it kicks something which like, oh, we need to start doing some stuff, because if everyone suddenly starts migrating, then we're not going to be the big dogs forever. So
well, Twitch actually, they signed a contract with, I can't remember the person's name, but he was a YouTuber, and they got him to come over and stream on Twitch through doing that kind of thing. So it seems like maybe, all of these platforms are kind of looking out for people that they could bring over that's trying
to acquire talent.
Yeah.
So but one thing that's interesting about this,
that's good.
Yeah, this is the era of like content creators being like freelance contractor, like sport team type of stuff, getting
it really
traded to different platforms, which is really funny to think about.
Yeah, free agents.
Yeah, free agents.
Kind of like who's got the best contract, huh?
But it's sometimes it's not even about the best contract, like money wise. Sometimes like if you've been with one company for a long time, but you feel ignored and you feel like your needs haven't been met, and then this other guy comes and he's like, well, we'll give you all this. We'll invite you out to, like game premieres and stuff like that. Well, maybe that would be enough of a incentive, like for sure. Maybe it's not just the money, but it's also the side.
Yeah.
If someone has a better contract, more flexible, they're going to support you more. They're going to, you have someone that you can go and talk to whenever you need something. Like, that is very, very good.
That's something that Goth said about being connected with Mixer, is that he saw it as more opportunities to connect Microsoft and Mixer to GCX for bigger potentials for
Goth. It makes total sense, especially as Goth is, he has so many companies that he doesn't even really need to stream. I'm pretty sure he just streams because he loves doing it. So this move for him makes complete sense in that he's gonna have that really tight knit community, contact with Mixer and Microsoft, and that's gonna do great for his other businesses.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's not really that he was in a position where he needed to get more money from his platform, because he was already like doing well. It's same with Shroud, same with Ninja. It's like those guys, they're not in a position where it's like clearly they need more money to maintain whatever lifestyle is happening. They're looking at it as a business connection type of thing that can grow something else additionally.
I wonder for how many of these big contracts it's like looking like a retirement plan.
I think that a lot of people who are getting those things and going to Mixer, it kind of looks like that, right? Where it's like you go there, you get like 30 million for 2 years. You got secure the money, you can, invest that, and then you're good to spend time on all the other businesses. Like, these people have lots of other businesses. Right. So then they secure a paycheck, and then they don't have to stream.
Yeah. And I know it sounds weird to people who haven't done it, but it can be stressful to do the daily grind of streaming every day. Like it's more work than it looks like, and it is more stressful than it looks like. And I think the bigger you get, actually, it can be more and more stressful because you lose control of your chat more. You got outside influences kind of pulling you sideways. Like it's different than it looks. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, even if you see like, same sort of thing for like content creation, like when you want to suddenly start doing more stuff, you realize like I haven't got time in the day to do everything because you spend half the time, you're either live for part of the time or you're creating videos for the time. And then you're like, well, I want to build all these other businesses that we're trying to do. And it's like, how do I juggle all this stuff? So yeah, if they're in a position where, you get to that point where, as you say, like, they obviously didn't need it. But if you get to that point where that secures you and you're like in a financially comfortable position, then you're like, well, now I can step away from something to be able to focus on something bigger for a second. So obviously they're still going to be streaming, right? But I think it's important if they've got bigger ambitions and this allows them to effectively take their foot off the gas a little bit on like the daily machine grind and then be like, let's work on the bigger picture, then it's better for everyone, right?
Or in 2 years, I'll just be in Cancun jet skiing.
I mean, win-win, right?
Cancun jet skis.
My ties are jet skis.
There we go.
Yeah. Well,
it's very interesting. It's going to be interesting how this all ends up shaping the live streaming community and what streaming looks like as a job.
Yeah. It's still relatively new, and it's become.
I think it's important to break down the barriers as well, because I think a lot of people. I mean, as evident as you say, like a lot of people don't know what goes into it. A lot of people very wrongly look at it and they're like, you just play video games all day, you just turn your stream on, it's easy, like, and it's like, but when you actually realize the amount of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like I used to work at Microsoft as a job, right? I used to work 9 to 5, actually it was like 9 to 8, and now I do my job as like content creation. I work more hours, I work harder than I'd ever worked before working a corporate job, and I'm just like, and that doesn't mean to say I'm trying to say
you're never not at work either. You're always at work,
right?
And you always feel like you should be working, even when you're not. Like if you're sitting there with your family eating dinner, you're kind of, I should go up to the office and I could make that one more video, or I could stream for one more hour.
It's the back of your mind. Something's always there, right? There's an hour of downtime. Maybe your partner's gone to do something. You have some free time. Instead of thinking, you know what, I'm going to relax and watch a TV show, you're like, I'm going to go make some content. It's always lingering in the back of your mind that you could be doing something.
Yeah, the biggest thing about the biggest thing as a content creator that I think like most content creators identify with is the dream of being able to have a weekend completely unobstructed from thinking about the things that you need to do as a content creator, because you just
I've thought about actually having an office, like is actually renting an office space and having that be my office that I go to, and I'll be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I come home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and like that's where I work and then the stuff I do at home is home stuff, and the stuff I do at the office is office stuff.
Yeah, it's actually what my brother is self-employed, and he did that exact thing. He rented a place and he went there in the morning because he was like, I cannot have my work just around me constantly because I don't know when to turn off. When do you turn off? So that's exactly what he did, and he found that it helped a lot.
Yeah,
that's the reason I stopped doing Destiny news videos, was because I felt like I was always looking at like Reddit and Bungie.net and like everything. At 7 p.m. I might be like, oh, this is big enough. I'm gonna go make a video about this, and I'd be working on that till 10 p.m.
It's killer, right? Yeah, I mean,
why I stopped doing
especially if you cover things in like different time zones. Like when I used to do a lot of Destiny coverage, same kind of thing as you. Like, but obviously for me, I like if I was juggling like a different game, and then I'd be like, oh, in my UK time, I'm thinking, it's like 6 p.m. Like, I think I'm done for the day. And Bungie like, we've got a blog post for you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's kind of like being cool, right? You think to yourself you're done, and then you just see that one thing, you're like, I wish I didn't see that because. I can't ignore that.
There's always something. It's never ending.
There's always
and then if you're trying to build other businesses as well, like it's just endless.
You're working on merch, you're like in meetings to try and get sponsorships with people down, or like you're trying to put together, the completely different company that's not related to streaming. It's all and especially if you don't have a manager and you are doing that all yourself, that is I mean, managing a content creator is a job. That's a full-time job. So if you're the content creator and the manager, I don't think you have enough time in the day.
Yeah, the other thing too is people say, why don't you just hire people to do some of that stuff? And well, if you have a pay grade, you know, if you're making a certain amount, then yeah, of course you would do that.
Yeah.
But most of the time to get it to that point, you can't. So you have to subtract hours from eating, sleeping, spending time with loved ones. Those are all the things that get subtracted to make the other things happen. Well,
that's not turned into a bitch session. On the other hand, it's also I get to play video games for a living, and it's actually pretty awesome. So,
definitely, yeah.
There's that part of it.
It is awesome. It's
Absolutely,
just, it's a lot of work, but as anything you enjoy, right? So
the grass is always greener on the other side,
right?
Exactly.
All right.
I know plenty of content creators, Holtzman included, who decided he'd rather have a 9 to 5.
Yeah, he was like, I can't. It's too stressful. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I want to go work in games.
Yeah,
work on the video games instead of making content on the video.
Yeah,
right.
he had,
I hear that's a low stress industry.
Yeah,
exactly.
Super low stressful.
Yeah, he had hit the wall on the on call constantly. Some piece of news hits, you got to be there. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last story that we have on our list is that there's rumors there might be an Overwatch 2.
Oh, yeah. There was a leak. Yeah, it kind of saw it on the Twitters. Saw an article about a leak ahead of BlizzCon. I'm sure they were planning on talking about it at BlizzCon. And so far, what we've heard is it's going to be some PvE. We don't know what that means. And they're adding one new map and a new character. I think that's all we know so far.
That doesn't sound like a 2.
The idea of PvE.
No, it does not sound like
yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe there's. I mean, if there's kind of sort of like only parts of it leaked, then obviously maybe there's like more to come. But like, there's been like rumblings for quite a while of like PvE content in Overwatch, and it's definitely the kind of game that would suit it, right? It's got like all the characters, it's got all the different kind of class abilities. There was like a couple of screenshots that went out with like some additional abilities for Tracer, which makes it kind of which obviously kind of fit more so into a PvE setting. So maybe, and you know, for what you can kind of potentially infer from that is there's then the potential for like different builds and stuff, which could be quite interesting. But it's a weird sort of thing to think about, like, because they still continually support Overwatch, you know, at the moment. Like, is Overwatch 2 going to be, because there were different rumblings, right? There was one idea where Overwatch 2 might be a completely different type of game, and then obviously they'll continue to support Overwatch from like an esports capacity, and obviously you then have that. Meanwhile, you go to like Overwatch 2 for something else.
Like World of Warcraft is completely different than Warcraft 3.
Exactly. Yeah. That's like one of the sort of theories I heard at one point. But then obviously, if I mean, again, it might not be an official title, but if it is called Overwatch 2, it'd be quite weird to say, well, you play Overwatch 1 for your PvP, you play Overwatch 2 for your PvE. So unless they give it like
just be internal naming too, right?
Yeah.
If they do a huge PvE thing and they're only adding, you know, like one PvP map and new character, then that's like, you know, it being Overwatch 2 would actually make sense if it is a huge PvE kind of game. That'd be cool.
I just want to see what happens when they announce it at BlizzCon, because that whole place is going to be a shit show, and I'm going to be watching. Like a soap opera. Yeah, I'm just like sitting there watching like a NASCAR fan waiting for that crash. Like, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm watching. Now make it happen, boys.
Don't forget your posters.
The only reason.
Especially if they have
I feel like the red shirt's going to come out again.
I think so.
Remember the red shirt guy from the last one, the Diablo guy that was super angry when they announced Diablo as a mobile game, and then he got up there with his red shirt and asked the guy if it was a practical joke. I feel like they're all going to be there in red shirts this time.
It's going to be him, but it's everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So
did that Diablo mobile game ever come out?
I think it's still no. It hasn't. It's not out yet. I think it's supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be this year. Maybe it's next year. But yeah, no, not yet.
Maybe it's not happening. Maybe they were like, if we don't talk about it, people will forget. We'll just release it in China.
Maybe they'll wait till this BlizzCon and be like, how can we make people happier? I know. We'll give them a release date for the mobile game they've been waiting for.
Yes, that'll make them happy.
And we'll tell them they can buy a season pass for it. That'll be great.
Is there just a changing of the guard happening? Is that what we're witnessing here? Is like, you know, Blizzard used to be one of those companies that they could do no wrong. Bethesda used to be one of those companies. You know, Activision, you know, like Activision's always been a little bit weird, but not like they are now. But now you got new companies that are kind of like stepping up, like doing big titles. Like, is there just like a changing of the guard happening? Is it, you know, just the evolution of gaming as a media? I mean, you know, you got a lot of smaller developers coming up.
You kind of see this happen like a lot anyway. I mean, you think about sort of, I mean, obviously it's not quite in the same like flames and whatnot, but even to a degree, when you look at like the way that consoles kind of go for like a while, when it was like, I know PS2 was obviously like, you know, super strong for a while, but when you think about like there was a couple of years where Xbox were like really, really strong, and PlayStation were, you know, it was like taking ages for stuff to come around. And then obviously it's flipped around now where like PlayStation is like the dominant console with like obviously like a ton of crazy exclusives, and Microsoft have almost gone quiet for a little bit while they're building up. So you definitely see these weird like fluxes and stuff. So I don't know whether it's one of those ones where they'll use that as a period, as a kind of chance to quieten down for a bit, and then they'll be like, all right, you know, maybe they have a restructure and then they come back again stronger. But who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I hope they announced Diablo 4 though. I really want to see that.
I'd like to see Diablo 4.
Nice. I would play that.
Yeah.
I'd be conflicted if it came out anytime now between now and 6 months. I'd be like, oh
yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, the wound's still a little fresh.
Oh yeah, exactly. You know, but maybe in a year or two.
Yeah, it's a difficult kind of thing. It's kind of sort of like, as we were sort of saying last time, like you obviously don't want to support like the like money hungry like Blizzard angle, but at the same time you're like, there's people in the studios that are making some really cool game. I want to support them. Like, can I just give them money?
I can hold a fucking grudge though. I haven't drank a Coors product in like 20 years since they lobbied against gay marriage in California. Like It's been a long time.
You, Brian.
Yeah, man.
Held a grudge.
That's good.
Not doing it. I love that banquet beer. I ain't drinking it though. I ain't paying for it. I'll drink it, but I won't pay for it.
It's poured in front of you.
I'm at a wedding and it's an open bar, you know.
I didn't pay for it.
Amazing. I think is that the episode today?
I think so.
I think it is.
I think we've covered everything. Like everything is now being covered.
It's
the world of gaming has been talked about.
Yeah, we can put it to bed.
Done.
Till next week.
Complete.
SideQuest
complete.
Guys. Fantastic. All right. Well, that is episode 23 of DCP SideQuest. Thank you very much for watching, for tuning in, for all the support. If you're watching on YouTube or the podcast syndications with Spotify, all those places. Appreciate all the support, guys. Thank you very much. If you want to find more on me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter, or catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft, where we'll be talking about whether or not I should buy the Apple AirPods Pro since I'm a shill.
Big debates over in the
When are they coming out?
I don't know.
Are they out now?
I think in a couple days or something like that.
Oh boy. Oh
they
boy.
They just
Make sure
announced
you
it
sub
today.
to Tefty. He's gonna need that money.
Tefty's gonna go and he's gonna queue up for the midnight launch of the AirPods.
I'm going.
He's gonna be live streaming from the line
I'm going
outside
Apple
the
broke,
Apple
guys.
store.
Yeah.
I went to one launch before. It was for the iPad 2. Me and my buddy went.
How was it?
Really?
It was awful. Stood in line. I was like, why did we do this?
Yeah.
This is
I
stupid.
went for the iPhone 4 and I actually had fun in the line.
Yeah.
But it was I think I showed up at like 6 a.m. and I had my phone in my hand by like 7:30 or something.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
No. I've lined up longer for console releases.
Yeah.
I lined up for Halo
I watched
4.
the guy pass out actually. He just fucking fell. I was actually at the Destiny. Oh, it was a Destiny launch, I think. It might have been PlayStation, but I think it was a Destiny launch. Like one of the special editions or something. I don't remember.
If you are out there and you were in line for something and passed out, you may have been seen by Briar.
Yeah.
Please tweet us.
I helped him up. I helped him up to his car.
Briar.
I told
you
the GameStop employees, hey, I think this guy should probably be first in line. Like,
what a
because
good
we don't
man.
want it to happen again. So
That's the
I helped
trick.
him
I'm
out to his
going to
car.
the next thing.
Yeah.
And then the guy behind me wasn't going to give me my place back in line. I'm like, dude, come on, man. I was just helping the guy who passed out to his car.
Or
You're
you
gonna let
could
me
be
back in
like,
line.
I am making sure this wonderful gentleman does not fall over. So
Yeah.
I'm here with him at the front of the
he
line.
did, though.
Because he
He
needs
just
to
went-
go first.
Locked the legs.
Damn.
Lock the
Yeah.
dangerous. Who's next?
Oh, hello. I'm Miss 5000 Watch. You can find me on Twitter. Just look for Miss 5000 Watch. You can find me on Twitch streaming Outer Worlds later, and then some big Destiny stuff tomorrow, which is exciting. And look for me on YouTube, Miss 5000 Watts.
Sweet. You can find me over on Twitter, Arix, or YouTube, Arix Gaming. What is it this week? What's going? Oh, there's a spooky surprise for Borderlands tomorrow. They got the next episode of the Borderlands show, so they're gonna give us a first look at the Maliwan takedown. So
we
talk about that.
And he's not sharing. It's really
won't crack, man.
Frankie, too silent.
Maybe we got to give him the old Frankie 2 tickles.
Yeah, there we go.
Sounds like fun for everybody. I'm Briar Rabbit. You can talk to me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit, or you can find me standing in line for Destiny, the Taken King.
Oh, okay. Nice.
It's a long line.
All right. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week for more tales from the gaming industry.
Yes.
Wow.
That's our new book. Find it on Amazon.
Actually, I just took Jason Schreier's book and wrote my name on it.
Nice. Plagiarism. It's, yeah. I like it. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.